Good afternoon. Hello, everybody. Hello, Linda. I know there's not going to be many of you this afternoon, A, because it's very hot, and B, because I've not seen many bookings for today. What for? What's it to go on? I'll double check, but I don't think we've got any because it'll be a Sharpie.
You do it in a nice artistic way, though.
It'll be a Sharpie that you need, and I think we might have sold out. I'll double check in a sec. Normally we have. I didn't think we'd get many to come to class today because it might be a bit too dear. Too dear. Well, I want to try and make my deer look less like, because in the one I did previously they look like it's still from a Disney film.
It's their stupid ears. Their ears are too big.
And they're glowing.
Are they proper deer? They're not proper deer.
Yeah.
Deer are they? They're not real deer, I think. Are they? They don't look English to me.
I've just drawn a giraffe.
They look like they look like gazelles.
I know. I think they might be. I think they are deer, but it's because you never look at them from the front. Whenever you see photographs of them, they're always slight profile.
Yeah.
We have this bloody muntjac comes into our garden. You always see that front of.
Yeah.
It eats all these.
Eats everything.
They do. They love tulips. My tulips, when they were coming up, they'd eat them all, blooming things.
I'll try and do. Let me download it.
Oh,
The
mine looks
photo.
like a blinking, what do you call it? Not an emu. Yeah, llama. Thank you. It clearly does.
I can't see a sort of white tail for a rodeo.
No, exactly. They don't look
They've only got
English.
these lovely bushy white
They have.
tails.
They have. I think that they're fine. Or they look like Japanese. Something you know about this, Chris, because you're well travelled.
Or the ones that bow.
Are they water deer or something they're called?
I've never been to Japan.
Right. I'm going to download it and try
Look it up.
reverse search on Google, because for yesterday afternoon's class it was a lovely cottage that we did. So you'll be doing that in 10 weeks. And I reverse image searched it on Google, and it knew exactly where it was because it's a famous cottage. It's a landmark trust building. So it's so clever how you can do it. I mean, it works better on the app.
If you Google semaphore ears.
Hang on, let me.
Semaphore ears, yeah. I think they're Japanese.
Well, we'll find out if you're right in a minute.
Well, they might be over here in a national trust or something like that.
Linda's usually good with animals
Yes.
and all manner of things.
I'm going to pretend mine are llamas or alpacas.
Amazingly long names, actually.
Yeah, they're not.
As I thought they would be.
They've got the eyes crossing them. It's easier to trace them. I like to draw.
White-tailed deer.
Yes. Well, what's it
Possibly. Or a black-tailed deer. They've got black-tailed deers. Have got massive ears.
Right.
See, look at that. That's a black-tailed deer.
Most deer have got massive ears.
Right. Well, yes, but so where are these deer from?
Let me Google that now.
Fallow deer have a red coat at some point in the year, and then it goes all spotted.
Yeah. Pacific Northwest of North America. And you've got a Colombian one, but I don't think that does look like that one. Let me have a look at white-tailed deer now.
I haven't got a white tail, that's the luck of it.
Yes, that's the problem. They're no
It hasn't got a tail.
We can't see a tail. No.
No, it doesn't look like a white-tailed
It is a
deer.
British background, yes, I agree, it is, but that doesn't mean that they're British deer, does it? Because they could be at a safari park.
When we were in Costa Rica, or one particular place, and having breakfast, this deer came along and just nosed around everybody's breakfast.
Oh,
Say hello to everybody. He looks lovely. Completely fearless. Normally, you know, one smell at you and they're off.
Sign language for our grandson and his Makaton. Somebody said, you misspelled it.
yeah. That Makaton is spelling, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, you sign and speak at the same time, don't you? Kind of. Yeah.
Very, very clever.
He just ignores us.
Does it?
His favourite book is the Gingerbread Man.
Right. Oh yeah. Oh, it's lovely. I love it. Sign language is brilliant, isn't it? Amazing. It's so wonderful to open up the world for
Yes.
deaf children. It's just wonderful.
He's very receptive.
Yeah.
He
Well,
just looks at you.
how old is he?
I think 4.
He will be receptive once he gets to school.
Just preschool.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's a white-tailed deer, and you can't really see he's got much of a tail because it's dangling down, and he's got quite big ears.
That's got big ears actually, but
You want to know where they live now, don't you?
I want to know the identity and names for these two deer. I don't know what it is about them. I just feel they don't look English or British. They don't look native. That's the word.
Virginia deer, North America. So the North American deer.
Right. And what
So the black-tailed one are North America as well. So they're North American.
There we go. That's sorted it out then.
It is.
Why are they over here? Have they got a visa?
They've got a different accent.
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Matters to me.
You see, there's a European roe deer.
Yes.
But-
Well, they look slightly different. That's the British one,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
they look like them, but they're...
Yeah, they haven't got the roe deer doesn't have a longer neck. They've got a stock. What? Mm.
I think that's it, isn't it? It's the neck and the
very
ears.
long.
Although that's a roe deer and that's got no tail,
No,
but it's a different shape,
it's a different shape. It's got a shorter neck,
shorter neck.
fatter neck.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and a different shape ear. But so it could be. It's either a black or white-tailed deer. So we're in North America today, and I suppose the Canadian, like North American countryside, is quite similar to the British in the same trees and things because it's the same climate at times, isn't it?
Virginia.
could be.
Virginia.
Can you look up Seeker deer, please? S-I-K-K, I think it is. Seeker.
They're the ones I was thinking of. That's what I was thinking. Are they Japanese?
Yeah, they're the Japanese deer.
They're here.
Well, I don't know. Well, I think they're probably the same.
Why are they?
Well, to be honest, I've got no idea.
No idea.
Dear, dear.
Oh yes, you have. Really panto time.
Oh no, it isn't.
Dear, I never.
So... So you just drawn the deer and now...
Yeah, I've drawn the deer and a hint of where the background line is.
Yeah, I've done that.
The spotted deer or Japanese deer.
There, Seeker, Japanese, you see. I knew there was a Japanese deer. Is that one of these?
No, again they look stocky.
Do they? Are they more like
They
the
don't.
muntjacs?
They've got shorter. They've got shorter ears.
A bit more
Well,
like a
There you go. Look, that's a seeker deer. You can see the neck is a lot shorter and their ears are smaller.
Well, now he looks more like a roe deer, isn't he?
Yeah,
More
I
like
think the
what
roe
we-
deers and the seeker deers look quite similar.
Yeah. Oh, these deers don't look like deer
Oh,
anyway.
oh dear.
Oh dear, exactly.
Have you drawn Linda?
No, did I get that box? I don't think I did. It's very hard to draw a deer face on.
Yeah, because you can't see their faces. That's why mine looked a bit cartoony, I think.
What is the shortness of the body?
Yeah. Well, you can't see the length of the nose or anything face on. But they're very inquisitive, aren't they? I might add Payne's Grey into this, I don't know.
Can I borrow your rubber, please, Harry?
Of course.
I've got my rubber.
Every week.
I know, every single week without fail. Forget to put it in. Thank you. I saw Dee this morning at the farm.
Oh, with her pink hair.
The pink hair. Yeah.
When I saw her, she said she was only going to have a few subtle highlights. It's like bright. She's like rhubarb and no strawberries and cream sweets. There's just like pink everywhere. It suits her though.
It does. I said that to her. I said that. Look, really suits you.
It's fun.
I think I might be that.
Pink hair. See, I thought of dyeing the ends of my moustache a different colour just for fun, but I couldn't be bothered. Because I chop them off every couple of months, so there's not much point really. If I could get like cheap hair wax, coloured wax or something, then that'd be different. But I can't be bothered.
We had a new chap come last night for audition, because we're auditioning for the next production now.
Oh yes, did you find out about?
Yes, it was just too complex to get it all in the time. So, yes, and he had a moustache, beautiful twirl moustache.
Yeah,
It
nice.
was really vintage. It was very, very lovely.
He won't have to lose it for his
Well, it depends.
role, because that's why I'd never shave mine off for anything.
Well, there's a good role for him where he could keep it on. Well, there's a role, like a Miss Trunchbull role, where it's played by a man. I don't know whether he'd be able to take it off if he got that far, or whether he would want to take it off.
Although I think one of the male actors that did in Hairspray, who plays the mom, I
Yeah.
think he had a full beard when he did it, but I don't know if he shaved it off. But he's always had a full beard, so I don't know.
Very sure so, but it was very fine, very vintage. Right, well.
Are you drawn?
As much as I can do.
Excellent. So mainly 4 colours today, but I think for the extra branch over the top, I could do Payne's Grey with that, just to bring it forward.
Where's the back leg? The little one?
Behind that front leg,
No. I think I'll have to do it there.
something like that.
I'll have to see, isn't it?
So I think we'll wet the whole page. It's going to be difficult today because of it being warm. Apart from the deer, we'll paint round the deer and then do a lime green wash over the whole picture apart from the deer.
So you're painting round the deer.
Paint round the deer, yeah.
Lemon yellow.
But it dries so quickly. For the acrylic class, we did the clouds in a slightly different way this week to try and get it to work better because of the weather.
What are you gonna do on Tuesday?
Well, I know. I don't know.
What classes have you got on Tuesday? Because Monday you don't work, do you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I have 3 classes on a Monday.
Are they from home? Oh no, you
No.
have your Monday at
I have Monday at Wardington, then I do an hour here for art club, and then I have the evening class here.
Oh,
But it's watercolour pencils for nearly all of it, which will be fine.
yeah. Oh no, what? Is it cool at
Wardington. It's a massive space, so we've never really had it that hot, so I don't know.
It won't
But-
be hot till the afternoon, like mega hot.
No, so Tuesday, I don't know about the acrylic class, how that will work, because it's going to be the hottest, isn't it? But currently, my app says Tuesday's going to be 35 here, whereas there are other areas where it's in the 40s. So if I do a bit of lemon and a tiny bit of ultramarine for a nice lime green, and I'm just going to cover the whole page in lime green. doesn't look as vibrant on the screen. I'm trying not to get any green deer, but because that'll be our lightest tone. Right, I'm going to let that dry. I've probably over wetted this and it's going to take forever to dry, but I'd rather that be the case than struggle. Right. Keep it green. Keep it green. Doesn't really matter if you get cauliflowers in this. If I flash back my Disney version there, you can see the light colour is everywhere, but you want that. I have used a bit of chalk in this to get the beams of light because I thought it needed it, but basically you want to create this darker exciting patch behind them because that's shows that, because the light's coming from above, isn't it? It's kind of there, so everything around this bit is sunlit. I've got a bit of my beard on here, hang on a minute. I could paint with that.
Your whole self into it.
I am. I'm a
See
part
that
of my
same
art.
thing that they found the Van Gogh
Oh
portrait
yeah,
in
a
the
hidden
gallery
Van
in
Gogh.
Scotland? Yeah.
A hidden Van Gogh portrait, I know.
Amazing.
He mustn't have been happy with it to paint over it.
No, it was one of his early ones, I think, wasn't it?
Needed the canvas.
Yeah, and he thought, oh, I've just been today all through my paintings, but I've got given no to them, and I thought I need to use the backs of them because actually some of them are dreadful.
Yeah,
I don't want to shred them, but it's a good bit of paper on the back.
exactly, use the back. Always use the back. Makes a big difference. This is the back of another one. So sometimes if it's a really nice painting, I won't use the back. But if they're okay, then I'll use the back. Just because it's.
Some of mine are shocking. They're okay. I look back through them, I'm thinking.
Oh, but can you see an improvement?
I can. So the few that I did like when I first started, I look now and I think, gosh, I was putting paint on paper, but I wasn't actually looking very good. So they can be used again because I wouldn't ever want to show
I'd
anyone.
like to see the back of them.
Yeah, not very good. I want to see the back of them.
No, it's true though. I think, but it's nice though to look at, because when you are feeling really defeated and weather worn, and you're getting I'm getting worse instead of better. All of that. If you look at your earlier stuff, you go, actually, do you know what? Well, you said that about one that you had framed, isn't it? You know, it was as good as you could do at that time, but now you can do better.
Yeah.
And it does make you think, oh, do you know what? I am improving. I'm not as bad as I thought I was. So it's worth it in the end, really, to keep at least one of them.
Oh, that's awful.
An awful one of your early awful ones, as your booster for your ego boost.
Yeah.
For when you think you're doing badly, and now when you think you're doing badly, it's only because you know what to do, but you're still struggling to get your brush to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas when you first start, you don't know what you're doing, so anything's a good result,
Yeah.
even if it looks vaguely like.
I got one of the cat that we did, curled up black cat, and it looks like, remember that one on Esther Ransom that she had stuffed? It looks like that. His face is
When I first started, we did some boots.
Oh yeah, brown boots with a bit of wax.
Acrylic.
Yes.
So now my daughter's got it up in the house, and every time I go past it, I think, that is wonderful.
Well, I've got a painting I did before lockdown, or maybe during lockdown. I used to do a monthly evening beginners watercolour course, and it was metallic, how to paint metallic objects in watercolour, and it's a copper vase with a lemon. And I've actually got that in my living room, in my dining room, because I love it how it turned out. And Jackie saw it the other day, and she said, I love that painting. I watched you paint this live, and I thought halfway through, oh my god, this is a catastrophe. And I said, it's one of those that it only works when the darks are on. And she said, yes, because I looked at 10 minutes before the end, and it was like a photograph. And it's amazing how the one that we did yesterday that you'll be doing in 10 weeks, which is this, it's all about the shadows. Without the shadows, it's awful. You need the shadows to give depth and height and all of that kind of stuff, but without it, it looks like a 5-year-old painted it.
I picked the painting for the exhibition.
Have you?
That's what I was looking for. Cause I want, it's
What are you going
something
for?
that's quite nice, but not nice enough for me to want to keep it. It's
Just in case you sell it, is that?
It's a tree, a great big tree that we did, and the tree was black.
Oh yes,
Front,
yeah.
And then just countryside. in the
Nice.
background. It is nice actually.
How many?
Top number.
What? That you can put in, Mr. Cottrey.
Well, I don't know, because it depends, because I keep forgetting to tell everybody, so it might be a lot. I don't know. It depends, because we can fit about 20 pictures about that sort of size, so maybe 1 or 2 for now, but I might go, Jeff, bring your car.
I've got 5 at the moment on sale at Chipping Norton Health Centre.
Mm,
So,
very nice.
Go and have those back.
I think that's dry enough. I need to make a slightly... You see, that dark green that is right behind them, we've already got the yellow, so we need a bit more blue, and you can either dull it down with some brown or a little bit of cadmium red, because it's more of a browny green, isn't it? And this is where we have to go a little bit dotty, so I'm going quite carefully around my deer. I'm flicking down at the bottom there because that's where the grass is, but where it gets a little tricky is it's got a lighter bush in front of it. It's about there, isn't it, that bit? So we have to do more dotty shapes so it feels like the lighter trees are in front. I'm trying to do this very randomly because I know at some point I'm going to run out of paint.
Oh, this way.
It'll look beautiful, this. You might even end up putting this one in.
Two llamas in a field.
Two llamas in a swamp.
In a swamp.
Because we're having to paint in reverse because we've got the light green tree in front of the dark tree. So I'm hoping the weather's going to be nice but not too hot where I am. But on the Welsh coast
Fine.
it'll be a bit like today, I think. I've not packed any warm clothes, so I'm really braving it for Wales.
It's nice, Barmouth.
It's one of well, we used to holiday there all the time because I mean its nickname is Birmingham on Sea because anywhere from the West Midlands it's the closest tide or coast to the Black Country and Birmingham, and a lot of the hotels and stuff are operated by people from the Black Country and Birmingham, so it's nice. It's not very Welsh speaking, so I can't practice my Welsh. They'll probably think I'm native if they're from the Black Country and I'm there practicing Welsh. I'd have to go to the small little towns and villages like Dolgellau and places. But I don't really want to drive too far because I can't afford the petrol. It's going to cost a fortune to get there.
Our daughter, one of our daughters, start learning Welsh.
It's a lovely language.
She's doing quite well.
I'm doing mine on Duolingo. Linda online. Linda does Welsh. How long have you been doing it for, Linda?
They're looking after her father-in-law in the village, and I said, you know, at some point we'll be next. Yeah, we're moving to Wales, she said.
Wales for well over 25 years.
You did, didn't you? You were South Wales, weren't you?
I'm not good at Wankish.
Whose coat is that jacket? That kind of
That
stuff.
sort of thing, yeah.
Where to you go?
I don't know that one, but yeah. Sort of thing. Okay.
It's English. What's interesting is that there are a few words in South Wales that are totally different in North Wales. I think milk is one of them. It's lefrith in North Wales, I think, and llaeth in South Wales. I think sweets is another one, but I can't remember. I think a sweet shop, and I don't know which way round it is shop ferrins in one, but it's called something else in another.
How you spell shop in Welsh?
Yeah, S-I... Because sh is S-I, isn't it? S-I-O-P.
S-I-O-P, I think it is.
Siop. But if you say siop fast, it does sound like shop. Siop. Because the only other... The letter that's been added in the last 30, 40 years is J, because J doesn't appear in natural Welsh. But for borrowed words like giraffe and garage, because it's phonetic, it has to have a J sound. Oh, I've got peppermint tea and I've just sucked my tea bag. Ugh. I just thought I'd share that with you. Jackie, the pride of our valley. I can't do with hay fever. I can't do Gracie Fields. I'm afraid. Are you off in a minute?
Yes.
We were discussing the potential of maybe having to think about the acrylic class on Tuesday afternoon if it's
I think we'll have to think about everything.
A-
If it's
an
40
oven.
degrees.
I don't think we'll get 40. I really don't. And I hope that's the case.
Yes.
Because I don't think I could cope with 40 being a ginge.
No.
I will go darker in places, but I need to do lighter greens in a minute now. Now we've got that sort of place.
Take
You're
time.
off.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Oh God, I can't pay you out the till today, can I? 'Cause we only had one customer.
He's retired, but before that he was a chartered accountant who retrained as a nurse. So, and then he went back to accountancy. Money, nursing, money.
Yeah.
So,
You enjoy this?
loved it. He loved it. He did. He trained in Torquay, and he did 6 months in Torquay. Then he moved back to Banbury because he got a job at the Horton. Didn't like working for the NHS. It was far too stressful. So he ended up at the hospice at Catherine House, and he was there for 17 years. Just loved it. Yeah, it was really good place.
Oh, these are good. These gel pads.
Oh, you still got them?
They're cooling gel pads. And if you leave them out for a couple of hours, they do cool down, but it just takes the heat off your back and your bum a bit.
You should have seen him when they arrived on Wednesday. Put them, he's like, oh.
Oh, it was heaven because it was really hot on Wednesday and there was like 6 people in the room and I got one at me back and one at me bum.
Yeah, it was very, very clammy, wasn't it?
It was,
Oh, I feel like painting now.
yeah.
We felt a bit like that on Wednesday.
I'm going to try and make a green that's not as dark as that but is slightly darker than that to give a bit of texture in the foliage.
Not as dark as the middle bit, but darker than the outside.
Yeah, so maybe just a little bit more blue and a bit of water because we don't want a lot, but it's because this is foliage, you want to sort of create clumps of texture. I mean, you can see it quite clearly in the photograph, but sometimes you can see it until somebody says, you don't actually know, do you? And then you go, oh yeah. I'm not going to go crazy with it, but I do want some subtle little leaf. So you can use the point of your brush to give you a leaf shape. But I think I'll be travelling up the motorway way, which is the quicker way. But I might travel back the scenic route so I can swing by and say hello to my sister because I haven't seen her for a couple of months. Yeah, well, it takes you to the A5 anyway, which even if I come the motorway way. Yeah, so it's you turn off. It's halfway. You have to go through past the castle where I got married. Memories.
I had to go to Aberystwyth a couple of times a few years ago, and I just put the sat nav on and it just takes you across. Sat nav took me down to the B roads most of the time, and it was fabulous actually.
It's nice because if I go the back way from here, I'd do the A5 and then get off at Shrewsbury and then go down Bridge North towards Stourbridge, and then get on the M5. It all depends on what time I actually leave on Sunday. I have to check out at 10:30 in the morning, but I might just drive to a different beach or something.
All the way to Chipping Norton going that way.
Really? See, I remember when I used to travel in every day from the West Midlands and come on the motorway, there was one time when there was an accident and I was stuck between junction 11 and 12 for 3.5 hours, and they had to lift the central reservation. I only knew how to get, I got the sat nav, with the sat nav, how to get from my house to Paperway, and we had to be redirected, and I was sent to Fenny Compton and all of that. So I got the sat nav and it brought me the back way down the Warwick Road and all of that. It was a lovely drive, and now when I drive certain places that I haven't been since that time, I go, oh, that was the way it took me, because I'm not very good at directions, really.
We were stopped once on the M6 coming back south, and round about just before Knutsford, it said there was a 2-hour delay, big queue, and we could save an hour by going. So it took us down some funny country lanes, but it got us there a lot quicker than.
But you can never. But the trouble is, when you rely on the sat nav, you can't really remember how you got there or
Well, no, that's absolutely.
where you were. You couldn't recreate that again.
Well, coming back from Cornwall last time, the sat nav was helpful because there's a huge queue from Bridgewater to Bristol, and we came off, and that saved us a good 20 minutes, I think, or half an hour.
I'm doing a bit of stabby grass, a bit lighter now. Same colour, really. But I'm flicking up rather than stabbing. I will darken the grass. The grass is a bit darker in places. But if I do all these lighter bits, it all sets the scene. But I'm terrible. I do rely on sat nav all the time. I even stick it on sometimes just to go home, because if there's an accident on the motorway, it'll let me know. Because there was the other night, it took me ages to get back. I had to drive through Hanwell because there was an accident on the motorway. It's the trouble round here. If there is an accident on the motorway, every single road
Yeah.
is blocked.
Sat nav told me to turn right. I did, and it was a slip road. Dual carriageway. I got down the wrong one.
Oh no! You were on the wrong way on the. Oh blimey!
Well, only the slip road. A huge lorry stopped and gave me time to turn round. But they followed going.
Scary though, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because there are some roads where the markings are so poor. I remember I really struggle even still after been driving since 1999. When you've got, like, especially in the West Midlands, huge big sort of like crossroads on crossroads with loads of traffic lights, and you don't know which one is your traffic light, or can you go right, or that really panics me.
Yes, I hate those.
I've been known to turn left and left and left and left
Yes.
to save having to go through these kind of things, because it just panics me so much.
When you go to Swindon, there's a whole load of roundabouts.
Oh, I've heard about those. I mean, Milton Keynes gets ribbed for being full of roundabouts and stuff, but junctions for me are...
You have to be careful with stuff. Well, I think they're much better now. I mean, we've got TomTom, which is pretty good. But the first one we had was a road angel. In fact, it was a road devil that tried to take us across the Barmouth Bridge.
Oh, the train bridge?
Yes.
No.
Yeah. Once, and the other time turned into a farmyard.
We've got one like that.
It was
Yeah.
dreadful.
My
You can see why,
It
you know,
takes you
these
down. We went
big
to
lorries
London,
just-
and it took us down the bit that's being done. You know, when the Elizabeth line was being done, and all the roads were up and everything, and it took us down this little road, and we ended up trapped because they got all the road up on this side and all that, and it wasn't closed. It was really, really tiny, and then at the far end it was closed. So it took us down there, and
Yeah.
Roger then had to reverse back out of it. We scraped all the side of the car. And
It is bad. I remember
together something.
I was at a wedding. Actually, I was at Faye from Katie Lou's. I was at her wedding, and it was in the middle of a big golf club somewhere. And the tom I had sent me down this narrow lane to a farm, and thankfully there were two of the farmers standing there redirecting because they knew the sat nav will do that. But I use Google Maps now off my phone, and it's really accurate, and it will say, you know, oh, this is the fastest route, or tap to go onto that route if you want to because of that. And it's now English, and it pronounces all of the names properly, because when it first started it was American, and trying to listen to an American, trying to an AI American pronounce half of the names round here, hilarious.
Absolutely. We used to go to Bicester.
A Bicester and Worcester.
Blenheim Palace.
And that's Windermere.
Windermere. Trying to look at there's some darker grass in the background, isn't there? It kind of comes in a, so maybe a bit more blue. I don't want it as dark as that background. We're probably spending a lot of time doing these trees, and then the second half will be deer. But I do always feel like I'm coming home as soon as I drive through Welshpool and all of that kind of stuff, and I hit the you're surrounded by the mountains.
Yeah.
It really does make me feel like I'm home. I'm not Welsh, but I've always thought I was Welsh, which is a bit weird.
Well, I think I'm Scottish, because we're like that when we go up to Edinburgh.
It's funny, isn't it?
I feel like I've been there, like I've lived there. But
Yeah.
I haven't been anywhere near it.
No, this always feels like home to me, and I get a bit emotional as soon as the valleys start towering over me. I think the Welsh call that hiraeth, don't they? Which is the feeling of home, or the feeling of belonging. And I've always felt like, ever since I was a little child.
It's probably because you've got happy memories, so your brain has lodged that in it.
Yeah. I mean, I have got Welsh ancestry now, but I never knew that at the time.
You'll be able to catch up on a bit of your Duolingo whilst you're there, won't you, if you haven't taken your laptop and stuff.
Well, yeah, so I mean, I try to do it every day anyway. I do about half an hour before I get out of bed,
Very good.
because I don't like to lose my streak.
I keep forgetting. I still get frustrated with it.
Oh, I've got so frustrated with it lately because it annoys me that it throws you like 20 new words all in one go, and I can't remember them, and then I can't remember the grammar behind it because it doesn't explain it. And there are so many other versions. I don't know if any other languages are the same, but I'll write one version and it'll go, or an alternative version of asking this is this, and it's a totally different phrase.
Yeah, German's dreadful. Lovely, but dreadful. Right, what
This is sort of like a same green. Well, it's a bit more of a bluey green than that, but I'm going to go even darker in places in that background. This is just for the grass shadow. So I've not added any red to this. It's just yellow and blue. But I am splaying my brush a little bit and but I think Duolingo is good to get your interests peaked into learning languages.
You've got the CDs and things.
I have, but it's a rubbish. I bought a CD about 20 years ago and a Welsh language book, and they're supposed to be combined, but you can listen to one without the other. And I thought, oh, I'll put it on in the car, and it says now turn to page so and so in the book. Well, I'm driving, I can't really do that.
I know.
But there's a Learn Welsh podcast which is quite good, but there's only a few episodes.
Radio Wales did a thing.
Well, I do find sometimes if I've got nothing to do, I will play BBC Radio Cymru to just listen to the Welsh accent, even though I can probably understand one word out of every 50.
Must say one of the things we missed when we left Wales was Radio Wales. I always used to listen. If I managed to get home in time, it was an early leaving I'd listen to Roy Noble. You know Roy Noble?
No.
Great fat ex-teacher with quite a good sense of humour.
And was he showing English or Welsh?
Oh, was it English?
English.
Well, he was a Welsh speaker. That's what that was. Radio Wales was in English.
Because BBC Radio Cymru is in Welsh. And sometimes I put S4C on the telly with subtitles so I can hear it but read it in English.
Do they still have, I'm telling you, they still have
Publicum. They do. It's still going.
One of my patients was a sort of minor actor.
Oh, really?
Publicum.
Yeah. Still there, still going.
He's still alive now, but
It's been going for a long time because I can remember holidaying as a child and sitting in the cottage and Publicum would be on. So I don't think it's been going as long as Coronation Street or anything, but
you could do it with subtitles if you wanted to.
yeah. Well, that's what I do to try and learn. I mean, occasionally I feel quite proud because I'll hear a couple of words, and like on the news on BBC Radio Cymru the other day, they were talking about something that I'd learned on TikTok, where there was a Welsh confectioner that has tried to copyright certain Welsh words like cariad and cwtch and stuff, so he can use them in his confectionery. And obviously, how can you copyright an actual part of language? So there's I messaged my ex-wife about it, and I said,
There's an English wine called Carrion.
yeah, it's a popular term. So I messaged my ex-wife and I said, have you heard about this? There's a petition out, so I made sure I signed it. I need to go even darker, I think. Yeah. I think I will, but it should start once the darks come even more, it should make more sense. So if I use loads of blue, maybe a bit of red rather than brown. And go darker to to create layers. It's all about the layers, because we haven't really got background, midground, foreground, underground, overground, wombling free. So was there a bit of uproar at the meeting then, Liz? Were people expressing their unhappiness with not being told and all of that?
Yes.
Ish.
It was very civilised. So there was
No slanging matches, not like, you have no authority here, Jackie Weaver.
No,
None of that kind of thing.
no, it was kind of a and we don't want to talk about this anymore type, you know,
Right.
shutting everybody down a little bit.
What was this?
I don't want to say whilst the can you cover up the microphone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah.
just let it go.
Got a nice dark, well, it looks a nicer green on the screen than that's in front of my eyes, but never mind.
Is there someone following you online?
I've got Linda online today. Normally there's about Linda, Diane and Libby, but they can't make it today. I enjoy having people online. It's so interesting and different. Because we're doing the art club on a Monday afternoon, and we did tree painting with that because it's only £3.50 for an hour. And we looked at I got my little model of my trees so I could show how it lit up and how shadows work and all of that kind of stuff. So it's very beginnery but really quite useful. And I did that.
Children, or have you got
No,
grown-ups?
it's all absolute beginner or grown-ups who are maybe a bit too, not frightened, but you know what I mean, to do an actual class, because you have to feel you I mean we do get them all the time in the shop. I'd love to come to an art class, but I'm not good.
Yeah, well, Hillary's a bit like that, isn't she?
Yeah.
She's perfectly okay, but she feels that she isn't.
I mean, I think once people feel comfortable, I mean, she seemed a lot more comfortable this week than the first week, which is good. I mean, that's what you want to create. And she was saying at the end how lovely everybody is and what a nice group. Because, you know, I think for a lot of people, the art lessons aren't just art lessons. They are a lifeline for some, I think.
100%. Yeah.
It's sort of like it becomes a community with. Well, you and Anne have met quite a few people, haven't you? Now that you've got as friends through the art group, which is lovely. Because I remember how nervous Anne was in her first couple of sessions, and Pauline. Oh, sorry, Linda. Thank you. Linda's been doing Welsh for 2 years online. She has to go out of full screen so she can comment. I'll try not to ask you too many questions, Linda. Thank you. Yeah, if my brain wasn't so annoying, I would just get in the car and drive to Wales. But on my way in this morning, after I'd done all of my checks, I'm thinking, now did I turn that off? Is that still on? And I don't want it. I won't enjoy the break, so it's annoying because I'll have to go and check a door that I know has been locked and I haven't used for 3 weeks. But I have to check it just to make sure. And sometimes I'll take photographs of it because I don't trust myself. I think, no, I locked it. Now, oh, was that this memory or was that a previous memory from the last time I locked it? It's annoying, isn't it? I remember when I was married, we were off driving up to Cheshire to visit my in-laws, and my wife said to me, I don't think I've turned the oven off. I left the oven on. And I said, no, you'd have turned it off. She said, I don't know. So we'd got to... Where had we got to? We'd nearly got to Chester. And I said, do you want me to turn round? And she went, yes, please. So we did. And we had turned the oven off.
Well, we've done that. Not
I'm trying to think where...
It's usually the door.
Near Runcorn. We were up near Runcorn and all of that area, I think.
I do it with my hot brush. I think now I have to say I am unplugging my hot brush every time I do it, because otherwise I'll get somewhere and I'll think, oh.
Yeah, but I do that, and then I go, am I just singing that in preparation, or have I actually done that?
Oh, really?
I have to go and check again.
No, I force myself not to keep checking.
And if I'm the last one in this building to lock up, if everyone else has gone, oh blimey, I'll lock this door, I'll lock that door, then I'll go downstairs, then I'll go back up and I'll check I've locked the door, then I'll unlock the door to lock it again to make sure that I've locked the door.
I would never ever be a key holder when I was teaching, so I could not trust myself with locking up a school and setting
No.
the alarm, because I would be back in the middle of the night checking it. I would be panicking because I leave windows open. That's my trouble.
Oh, is it? Are you a window opener?
Yes, I am. When I have a rehearsal in a village hall, I open the windows. When I get home and I think, oh, did I shut that window? And we've had to go back like to Great Borden Village Hall and check. So,
It is annoying, isn't it? And then you've got another group of people that just don't seem to care. They trust themselves.
it's the tricks your brain plays.
But they're always okay.
Yeah, they are. But then I saw something that says, question yourself, when have you ever left the iron on and gone out for the day? Never. So what are the chances are? But there's always a chance. There's always a chance.
I'm reading.
I've left a back door open before now that I'd forgotten I'd gone out of, and Jackie said when she lived abroad, she left the iron on and went out to work and forgotten, and then came back. She said nothing burned down. It was just a warm room.
Carpet was a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm reading a book at the moment I got out of the library about the chatter in your head, it's called. And it's a proper scientific book, so it's not a woo-woo,
Yeah.
meditation type book. It's a proper scientific book. And it's all about how they've done masses of experiments in America and all over that show if you can distance yourself
Yes.
from the thing that is stressing you, and for it's like you do this sometimes, you Barry, stop this, you
Yeah.
say it to yourself, and it said that can really help you to get that little bit of distance between you and your brain doing all the negativity.
Yeah.
Because you're not in the moment, you're taking a step back.
And also, apparently, if you can give the inner voice a random name,
yes,
like Phil or Bob or something, it then further separates it from you. So
Yeah.
it's not you thinking.
yeah, that's
that.
the same kind of thing, isn't
Yeah.
it? So that you're seeing yourself as a different, you're observing yourself. And
And sometimes when I catastrophize and I think, oh, that's it, I've got no customers today, so my shop's going to close within a week.
Yeah.
I'm going to have no food, all of this. And you have to say to yourself, who told you that?
Yeah.
And if nobody told you that,
Yeah.
then where's that coming from? And it's you. You're overthinking and catastrophizing.
Yeah, and we have to always remember that the voice in our head is not a fact.
No, it's never a fact. But sometimes it's not easy to remember when you're faced with that situation. at that time, it's not a fact. It is a fact. It's a very serious truth.
It's a fact, yeah.
It becomes so if you're psychotic.
Yeah. It's funny, but I mean, I've seen so many scientific things that on the power of thought, in terms of weight loss and weight, like muscle strength. If you watch someone lifting weights, it's as good as doing it yourself. In some circumstances, they monitored people watching someone do exercise,
Yeah.
and when they ran the tests, they had the same results as the person. So watching someone work all day is actually quite good. I think the brain is so much more powerful than we would ever know.
I am fascinated by the brain. It is incredible what it can churn up for good or bad.
But I would like to not catastrophize every little thing.
Well, perhaps you should do more of the, bang, get a grip. What's the matter?
Yeah, I'm so annoyed at myself though all the time. But then I also do things for future Barry and past Barry,
Oh, I know. Yes.
and I do. It really works. I'll sort of like think, oh, should I empty the dishwasher now? Oh, I can't be bothered. Oh no, future Barry's going to be really annoyed at me, and have to do it himself. So then I'll do it, and then in the next day, and I'll see the dishwasher's empty, and I go, oh, thank you, past Barry. That was really kind.
We have a spirit called Eric who messes us about.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, and if if something breaks down, you go, oh, Eric, and it takes the sting out of it.
Yeah.
Yes. Although I have
We just
my.
think it's my dad who's been gone 14 years.
I bought a lovely old wall clock that chimes, wind-up one from Buzz's, and it cost me 35 quid. It's a bit knackered, and I repainted the face, and randomly it just stops working, and there's no reason for it. And Jackie came for a cup of tea after art class, and it had stopped, and I said, oh, I tried all day yesterday to sort it out, and it won't work. And I said, I tell you what, I've remembered though, and I did it 4 or 5 times while the kettle was boiling, and it after a minute stopped. And I said, I've remembered the only way I can get it working again is by playing Glenn Miller. And she said, don't be ridiculous. And I said, honestly, the only times when it's broken like this, the only time it sustains itself is if I play Glenn Miller, and I haven't played Glenn Miller for months. So I said, oh, Alexa, play Glenn Miller, and I set it off, and it's not stopped since. And she looked at, and she kept, every time there was a song, she looked at the clock, and the clock was still going. And then next song, clock's still going. She said, I don't believe this. I said, you didn't believe me. She said, well, who would believe you got a haunted wall clock that only likes Glenn Miller music? But it's true.
How sweet.
I mean, I don't mind.
It's got good taste.
Absolutely.
Could be Miley Cyrus.
Well, I suppose that, if there is anything in it, it is a clock from the 30s and 40s. So I just think, what have I got to lose if it's not that, and yet 9 times it's worked?
Magic.
I'll go with it. I'm not, I'm open to anything really. Now, I suppose we ought to put some branches and things in. Oh, I'm not going to put the really dark branch across the top yet. But if I do some ultramarine and burnt sienna to make a nice dark brown,
What was it, red?
brown and blue for a bit of a. There's a few trunks and twigs and things in the distance, but I don't want to go too dark. I also don't want these trees to look like they're growing out of the deer's back. It's amazing what a couple of branches do. So is Ronnie's weekly, Jeff?
Sorry?
Is Ronnie's class weekly?
Yes.
Because it used to be. Did it used to be monthly, or am I?
She works at Broughton Castle.
Yeah.
The last 3 weeks she's had to cancel.
Oh.
Shame.
That's because I've not done any volunteering this year. They're short staffed.
Now she gets paid.
Well, I did 2 years ago. I worked there, and we got paid. And then last year we didn't get paid, and so I haven't done it this year.
I think if you can afford to do it, it's nice, isn't it? But
Well, I can afford to do it, but I'm not. I volunteer for the library, and what I did was when I was working at Broughton Castle, most people took. I mean, it's only low. It's only very, very low wage. It's not
Yeah.
a huge amount, but most people use it as a charitable donation. So that's what I was doing. Mine went to the RSPB, and then they said well, we can't afford it, which is fair enough. But then I thought, well, I'm not getting that donation money now, so
Yeah.
I don't know that I want to do it because I already do volunteering for the library.
I did love the Time Team episodes at Broughton Castle. Did you watch that yet, Liz?
No, I haven't.
They're all on YouTube. Three episodes on YouTube.
I'm not
3 half-hour ones when they dug the Roman villa in the ground of Broughton Castle during, I think it was during lockdown. Absolutely fascinating because they actually do some stuff in Broughton Castle as well.
so lovely up
I've never been to Broughton Castle. I've driven past it loads of times, but never been in.
there. It's fabulous.
I've painted it a lot from photographs, but
It's only up the road.
I know.
The only trouble is, well, it's only open on a Sunday afternoon or a Wednesday afternoon, so. you
I
have to
think
go
that's
on
the issue with a lot of things is that
Yeah, you have to go on a Sunday, but you know what? You'd love it on a Sunday. If you took a little picnic,
yeah,
you can sit in the grounds. They've got a lovely tea room as well.
because it's not National Trust or
No,
English Heritage, is it?
It's not.
Like,
It's
you know,
privately owned.
Fines family.
The Fines family.
But it's just it's really peaceful because you've got the beautiful moat and you can walk around the actual parkland as well as the formal garden.
Yeah.
You get loads of lovely pictures.
We're getting to the point where we can't put off painting the deer. We're going to have to do it at some point. Actually, as it's 2:45. Jeff, do you need a drink or are you alright?
I'm okay, thanks.
Liz,
Got tea, please.
tea, and do you want a white Americano?
Yeah, please.
see what I'm painting because we're coming backwards. And
He's very good at Newton.
yes, he is. He is very good.
But we're always one step behind.
Yeah,
Trying to catch up.
yeah. And also he knows in his head what he's trying to achieve, whereas we're just watching. And then I think, oh, I can see now what he's trying to do. It's making that go backwards into a glade, and I don't know that I've done that on mine because it's hot.
Did you watch the Outlaws on Sundays?
We watched the first series,
Yeah.
and I got bored of it after about three. My husband carried on watching, and he really quite enjoyed it. But then he said, "Oh, I don't think I want to watch the second series because the first one was good and it taking the story on too far." But was it good, the second
It
one?
was good, but it wasn't funny.
No, it wasn't funny, was it? That was the trouble. The first one I thought was good because it was funny and drama too.
Yes.
That's what I liked. And then it seemed to just get really black, and I thought, you know, what am I watching this?
Yeah, my wife was the same. She really packed it in, but I sat with it.
Yeah. Well, we have a system whereby in the evening, if it's something, because we've both got very different tastes in TV, so one of us will have our headphones on the computer, and the other one will have the telly, and then after a couple of hours we'll swap over, so we share, so we don't have to bore each other with what
Yes.
I like and what he
I
likes.
set everything up to record,
Yeah, that's what we do.
and then we watch it following
Yeah,
day.
yeah, we watch everything recorded. Although, like you see, I like watching live TV, whereas Roger is quite happy watching recorded stuff, and so I tend to get bags of the telly because I like watching live TV. He watches some very weird stuff. Though he was watching a thing about Putin last night, a 4-part series about Putin, and then he was watching something. Oh, it's an old Louis Theroux about Scientology. Oh, he watches weird stuff. And I'm like, oh, Roger, I can't watch this. Too depressing. I think I've done the trees too dark. Ooh, treats.
Got brownie.
Must be Friday afternoon.
Oh, Jeff, that's lovely. I like this. That's some lovely greens. Crisp, lovely. Lots of foliage.
Grass.
Foregrounds are horrible. Because the trouble with foregrounds is you need them, but they're always boring and, you know. But without them, you've not got the depth, have you?
And it's where it's a lot of detail is.
Yes. But we're going to hopefully not have to do too much detail on the deer.
What colour are you using for the ears?
Day glow orange. No.
They are, aren't they?
Well,
I'm not doing mine that colour. It looks ridiculous.
let me see if I can make it. Cadmium red and a tiny bit of lemon yellow.
Reasonable.
It's not as vibrant, but it still looks weird.
It does look weird.
So that's cadmium red, tiny bit of yellow and a lot of water.
Cadmium red, tiny bit of yellow.
Although, if you look at the one on the left, his two rear legs away from us are also that kind of colour.
Yeah.
There was a car advert recently. I don't know, one of the really expensive cars. And it had a cow in front of the headlights, and you could see through the cow. Look how bright our headlights are, and you could see all the organs in the cow. But I thought, yeah, that's fun for an advert. But imagine driving on the opposite side of the road when that's coming.
Yes.
Blind you. Because I do find some of the headlights now are so bright.
They are.
Because you drive, don't you, Liz?
I do. And I'm short-sighted, so I struggle at night with blindness. And some of the lights just completely wipe it out. I find it.
And they're not on full beam. It's just what they're normally like.
You have to really slow down because you think, well, I can't see where the white line is. It's awful.
We could stop now and call them albino deer.
Yeah, let's stop. Really lush. Have you been down to our stream parlour yet? You haven't been to see it?
No.
Mm.
I've seen photos on Instagram. They've got a cornet table, haven't they? A table in the shape of a cornet.
I don't like places like that. They're too modern for me, but I'll go and try the ice cream. It's like Bishop's Steak. The brownies are lovely,
I've not been in there yet.
but the colour of it makes me feel a bit vomity. It's so blue, so bright. I don't like it. I like natural colours.
I haven't been into Bishop's Bakes yet.
Well, you would love her brownies. They're much too rich for me. But they're
I
all-
like rich.
They are right up your street.
Stop it going to all the cinema across the road.
What's that, sorry?
It is open.
Is it?
Yeah, at the,
Yeah, it's been open 2 weeks.
across the canal.
We went a couple of days ago.
Mm.
The whole place was shut down.
Oh.
Well, I came down last night to the mill, and there were people going into it last night. What time was that then, Jeff?
3 o'clock.
I would have thought it's open all day, every day, isn't it? Let me see if I can find the opening times. It's called the Light, isn't it?
Workmen told me that they were closed.
They've been open 2 weeks now, isn't it, Barry, since they had the official
What's the
opening?
cafe open?
I know, because I know a couple of people have been to see Elvis there.
Yes.
Apparently that's a really good film. I've only heard good things.
Yeah.
But Rio Grande is a smashing film.
Is it? With
And it's on the
is it nice? Is it? It's on. That's on the Chicken Norton.
yes. It is, I recommend it. It's a little film, but she's beautifully
She's lovely. I love her. Mad as a box of frogs.
Yes.
She's lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Nephew lives next door to us.
Oh really?
She said, I've never seen you. She said, they invited me to a do. Stephen Fry's there, and he was so shy, he just couldn't come in.
They do a
yeah.
silver screen as well at the Light.
Do they?
Weekday screenings are mainly aimed at guests aged 60 plus, but are open to anyone who fancies a catch up with friends or the chance to meet new people. Each ticket includes a complimentary tea or coffee plus biscuits before the film, and each screening is socially distanced.
Oh, that's good. Well, they do a silver screen at
At the Odeon.
don't they? But they do tend to put old films on up at the Odeon. I just don't fancy the light. Are there normal seats up there?
I think so. It doesn't say opening hours, but I suppose it's whenever there's films on.
My back wouldn't suit lying down to watch things, I don't think. I just want to sit on a chair.
So what day did you go in?
I think that must have been Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean you can watch Elvis at 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock and 7 o'clock on Monday.
To try again.
Yes.
How weird. I'd not heard that it's been closed at all for any reason. But I still know a group of people who won't go there. They still want to go to the Odeon to try and keep that open. Right, I suppose the deer colour.
Premier seats for old folk.
Yeah.
They've got enough for two old folk for premier seats.
Where's that? At the Odeon? Is it cheaper? No. I don't really like going to the pictures.
If I mix some of the yellow and the burnt sienna together, that'll give me a lighter brown. Now, I think in the other painting I did use either a gel pen or gouache, because they're highlighted in white, aren't they? Because they're backlit. And a bit of lemon. Just to start with this basic colour. A little bit lighter around the face. They've got a little mask. What I'll be really interested in when I go to Wales today is if I wake up in the morning without streaming eyes and nose, which I do every morning here.
I wonder whether you'll get a good night's sleep. Do you sleep well when you go away? Or not? You don't go away, though.
I don't. No, I don't really go away. I think as long as the bed is comfy, it doesn't matter.
See, I don't sleep very well when I go away for the first night.
Often the first night for me is the testing time, but this is a good 5-10 minutes walk out of town. I suppose it's a bit like I don't know, the car park in People's Park distance away from the town centre.
Yeah.
But it's on the stretch, so you've just got sea views and Barmouth Bridge, and then stroll into town.
Beautiful. You'll be able to just please yourself for a couple of days.
Yeah. Well, normally I mean, my brother and sister are quite flexible, but we do try to fit everything in together in that one day that we go.
And what day is the actual death anniversary?
I think it's actually Sunday this. Yeah, it's the same weekend as it was 6 years ago, because it was the 16th. I remember clearly because the Saturday morning it was our first live Facebook demo
Yeah.
online, and as I was setting up, sitting here, but my laptop was there, my sister phoned me to say the hospice have phoned and Mum hasn't got lung. And I went, okay, I'll do my demo first and then I'll be with you. So I did my demo, 45 minutes, shut everything down, ran downstairs, said to Sandra, you'll have to close up, I don't know when I'll be back. I might not be back till Monday. And then I drove there, and I still actually got there before my sister. And then it was at 2:45 in the morning on the Sunday that she died. And I remember because it was 2:45 and my sister went to get a nurse, and I looked at my watch and it was 2:45, and I sang to my mom, it's a 2:45, there's no one in the place except you and me, because it was just me and her. But she'd already died at that point, but I did still sing to her because she liked me singing. It took me about 4 years to sing that song again, and even now I find it difficult.
Because my dad went on the 12th of July.
Oh, was it? I think that's when my aunt just died on the 11th last week.
Oh, really?
My dad's sister, one of my dad's sisters. Yeah, so I might have to have a day off over the next week or two for her funeral, but I don't know when that's going to be, because she wasn't really that ill, so we didn't know.
Really?
She went a bit funny, and then her speech went a bit weird, and they don't know why. It wasn't a stroke or anything, but apparently it was vascular dementia she had. She was 82.
Well, they didn't really know.
Well, they keep themselves to themselves, and my uncle didn't really want to ask for help. So my other aunts had to do everything, and she's like 74.
It is rare after somebody with vascular dementia.
Yeah, well, my uncle Pete, he's in his 80s. I think he's even older, but because they live in a really posh house in Belbroughton that they built in the 70s, so it's like a really all thatched cottages and everything, and they've got this 1970s 3-story garage, and yeah. It's a lovely place. It's where my mum and dad had their wedding reception, because obviously they got married when I was 7 or 8, because he wasn't my dad then. It's only now I found out that he was my actual dad. But what annoys me the most is that because she keeps herself to herself, I've not had much to do with them, but I also grew up believing that they weren't my aunts and uncles, so I didn't bother with them. And then now I found out after COVID that I am related to them. It's too late to do anything because they're just all dying on me, which is a bit annoying, really. But yeah, I know. I well, I do now. It took me 42 years to find out who I am. But what's really interesting as well, what else is interesting, and while I'm waiting for my deer to dry, is on the same day with the haunted clock, I said to Jackie, I found my old vaccination card from when I was born. Pink card with the things on. And she looked at it and she said, so your name wasn't Barry then? I said, I beg your pardon. And she said, look at the front of the card. I said, yeah, it says Barry William Whitehouse. And she went, no, Barry William Stanley, which is what my birth name was. And she went, no, it doesn't. It's written William, and then in a different pen later on above it in capital letters it's written Barry. So my mom wanted to call me William originally, and then because my vaccination card was before my birth certificate, which is Barry. So, and why she had to do that is because every firstborn male Whitehouse is called William, and I would have been the firstborn male Whitehouse. So she then let my brother name me, and then William became my middle name. And it's clear when you look at it that it says William, and then just above it in capital letters, like you've made a little amendment, but it's in a different pen and a different handwriting.
Wow.
So
William, really?
I should be William. And my sister's always called me Will. She still does. And I used to sign my paintings Will a long time ago.
God, you should be on Who Do You Think
God,
You
no, I can't cope with it. I need to make a dirty deer colour. So burnt sienna, I think, on its own is too disgusting. So I'm going to add a bit of ultramarine to make a dull brown. I suppose if you've got burnt umber, you could kind of use that, but if you wanted to, you could maybe glow it with a little bit of cadmium red, which will make it quite a rich colour. Well, what I think is frustrating about burnt sienna, I'm leaving a bit of an outline around them at the minute so I can blend it out. A long time ago, in Bethlehem. Burnt sienna, the Cotman burnt sienna was a lovely brown, and then when Winsor and Newton changed their distribution and moved all their making and everything to France, they changed the recipe, and then suddenly it became like paprika.
It is like paprika, yeah.
But if you look at a natural burnt sienna, it's just a lovely warm brown, light red.
Yeah.
But the particularly the Cotman range is orange.
I think the burnt sienna in the paint boxes is much darker. You know, the old kiddie paint
Yeah.
boxes that I have.
And the artist's quality burnt sienna is much darker, the richer brown. But there were a lot of problems when Winsor and Newton moved to manufacture into France. They lost a lot of recipes, which is why they stopped doing soft pastels, because they couldn't remember how to make them. Because they used to do the most amazing soft pastels in Winsor and Newton. Because we used to sell them in the old shop I grew up working in. It was a big plastic drawer unit that was, I don't know, about 3 foot high and a foot wide, and each shelf had different tones of each colour. So you'd have burnt sienna, but you'd have 6 shades of burnt sienna, and you'd have Naples yellow, but 6 shades of Naples yellow, and all of that. It was amazing, but then they forgot how to make it. And it is really, for a company that's been around for 150 years or more. Well, it's been around since the 1700s, so it's...
Well, we've had Rogers had a palaver with B&Q this morning, so make me laugh unless your concept of click and collect is different to ours. He wanted a new wheel for his wheelbarrow and a new chain for his chainsaw.
Yeah.
So we went to the B&Q yesterday and they hadn't got either. So Roger said, oh well, I'll have to go back and do a click and collect. They don't want to pay delivery charges.
No, that's fair enough.
One thing to that with click and collect, like at Argos, you order something, they get it from the warehouse, and you go and pick it up at the
Yeah.
store. Right, so this morning he does his order, click and collect. They take the order. Half hour later, ring. Oh, hello, it's Daphne here from B&Q. I'm really sorry, but the things you want are out of stock. So Roger said, well, that's why I've done click and collect, because doesn't it come, if I order it, doesn't it come from your warehouse and then I come and collect it? But no, click and collect's just what's on our shelves. So we said, so what's the point of the click? I might just as well come and collect.
Well, that is mad, because with Argos, I mean, even actually in some places, it does tell you on the website, you know, we don't have it in stock from this branch, so it won't be available for 2 days. Or if you order from this branch, you can collect it straight away.
Well, that's what we thought. I've never heard anything like it.
I mean, I guess if we offered click and collect, it would be what we'd got on the shelf. Because during lockdown we did click and collect, but we only offered what we sold.
Yeah.
So
but
you'd...
You haven't got a warehouse.
No, and I haven't got multiple chains across the country, you know.
No,
It is just me.
but certainly, I'm pretty certain that that's how Next and Argos work.
It is because Marks and Spencer's, you know, when they were trying to make me go online to get some linen trousers, he said, we haven't got it in stock, but if you order it today, it might arrive tomorrow.
Exactly. It's just, I can't believe it. Roger said, oh God, I give up the B&Q. They're absolutely hopeless.
But I think what's happening is, because we're finding issues with suppliers, is that our warehouses are holding less stock because it's so quiet.
Yeah.
And there are certain things that I've been trying to get in for months that I just can't get in. Like the Caran d'Ache pastel pencils. I've told you about that, haven't I?
Yeah, that's ordering from the Caran d'Ache, yeah.
Well, for a global, massive, expensive company, I can't believe that they think it's acceptable to do that. Well, they're looking slightly less Disney-fied at the minute. I might go a bit darker with a bit more blue in it. Because we've still got the really dark Payne's Grey to put on. It's not that cool today, is it? It's actually it's better than it has been in here. I mean, I think it was warmer on Wednesday, wasn't it?
I feel a bit warm today. It's not as warm as Wednesday. No, Wednesday was very. But then there were 6 of us, weren't there?
Talking lots.
Which was good. Awesome. Talking lots, yes.
Some more than others.
More than that. Even I was quiet. Couldn't get a word in.
I know it's a dark day when you can't get a word in.
It is.
But it's nice that people feel comfortable.
Absolutely. And Sue wasn't even here.
No, Sue. I mean, we've got Sue next week, but we haven't got you, have we?
No. Nobody would watch me in.
How you doing, Chris? All right.
Sort of. Struggling a bit.
What bit are you struggling with at the minute? All of it.
To
The painting.
Got further than the drawing.
It's trying to get the. I mean, they are really backlit, aren't they? So I might have to gel pen or white gouache the pale lines around them.
But I had already decided it was necessary.
What's that?
I decided that was going to be.
I think it is a. I think it's got to be done, hasn't it?
I decided I'm not going to bother to back my because it's too hard.
You haven't even painted any deer.
No, I've got a couple of llamas.
It's funny, isn't it, dear? You almost know that these are two really inquisitive that have stopped to look at the photographer, but you know if he took half a step forward, they'd be gone.
Yeah, definitely.
I might use a bit of brown in the foreground to do some dirt. And the reason for that is to try and bring the foreground forward. And I don't want to do it too dotty because otherwise it'll look like deer poo.
What, there's not any dirt in the picture.
There isn't. But I'm having some. Just because the brown warm tones bring things. There is some brown there, look. There is a bit of brown. So I'm sort of emphasizing that. Almost like a path it could be. Just merging through. See, I'd love to be able to teleport. Because just the thought of having to do a 3.5 hour drive today is making me go, ooh. But if I could press my belly button and I'd magically appear there, I'd go so many places.
That's why you need to stop on the way, because that's what I like doing. You just stop for half an hour, because then you think, right, I'm only going to do an hour and a half or an hour and a quarter, and then I'm going to stop, I'm going to have a...
Depends if I've got something good on the radio. Although I find if I'm driving at night, I can't have Classic FM on because it sends me to sleep. I have Classic FM on all the time, but in the evening,
I'm playing Led Zeppelin, I go drive my
Do you know, I had Iron Maiden on once while I was driving on the motorway, and I didn't realise I was really speeding. I was so aggressive with my driving, and I'm not an aggressive driver. And it's funny how it really affects you.
What makes me drive faster is the can-can. You ever have the can-can on when you're driving? Because it goes... Suddenly you think, oh my god, I'm driving 95 miles an hour. Because Classic FM often have that on.
Yeah, they do.
I don't listen to Classic FM.
I do like Classic FM.
I'm a bit of a radio freak. And I love radio.
And I always have Classic FM in the car. Because I think if ever I have an accident, it makes me sound quite cultured when the ambulance and the police have to cut me out if I've got Classic FM rather than Steps or the Spice Girls or something.
Often the radio keeps playing while you're
Well, this is it. I've seen so many movies and things where the radio's playing, and I think, oh, can you imagine if it's an awful song, a really like Eminem and a rap song, and then you've got me dressed like a vintage
I always say
Edwardian.
to Roger, if you ever find me, God forbid, upturned in a ditch, as long as the roof's down, open, and I've got the Christmas carols on, you know that I won't happy. Because I'll be, that's how I drive along. Summer, roof down, Barry
Christmas
Whitehouse,
carols.
You and other people. Yeah, that you'll know I won't happy if that's the case. I love the Christmas carols. I didn't have you on last night actually. I've got a nice baroque Christmas carols, which is they take all the carols and they've rewritten to sound like baroque music.
Oh,
So you
nice.
can't tell when it's doing Frosty the Snowman or something because it sounds baroque. So it's like posh.
And you know what they say: if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. I like it when people play around with modern songs or whatever and give it a totally different sound.
Like your
Postmodern
voice.
jukebox. Yeah.
You decided.
I don't think I will.
there's
I think it
There's
was
Bill Bailey. does that.
Bill Bailey, yes, he does. No, me and Chris were talking about it earlier, and I was saying that it would be an experience to start with, but in my head, the thought is, if I got through, I wouldn't be any use to them because I only sing like old songs. I can't sing pop,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
I don't think any of them in the groups would necessarily want. They might enjoy it good, and it might be good exposure initially. But I don't think I am what they're looking for because it's not vintage,
No.
and they'd have to spend a fortune reorchestrating all of the songs that they want.
No, I think
make
they
it
would,
fit.
They like that sort of thing. They like something that's a bit different.
Different.
And they're wanting to create variety. And
But would I have to have like weeks off work if I got through? Do you get paid for that?
I don't know. You have to think. No.
I wouldn't have thought you'd get paid.
I wonder if that's true. You probably wouldn't get paid at all.
No. You'd
So,
have
I
to
mean, I
know that
couldn't-
they wanted you to
Yeah,
rehearse
so I mean I
and
couldn't necessarily just give up 2 weeks of
No.
work.
No, you would have to just go, wouldn't you?
I mean I could do the day and then sing badly and not get through, but then that's not good for me, is it?
That is there.
No.
I'll run the shop for you.
It's the classes that bring the money in. I mean, this week we've only had like 7 customers in the shop all week.
Have you?
Oh God, yeah. I've taken more in a day than I've taken this week before now.
Gosh. Because Wednesday was quite busy, wasn't it? We had a few customers Wednesday, but it wasn't quite so hot outside.
It wasn't, and there weren't very many big sales. It's
No.
all tiny sales.
Yeah, it's too
We are quiet in the summer. It is our quieter time, but
It's just too
I noticed on Instagram, Doodle Dash put a post yesterday saying "use us or lose us." We can't guarantee how long we'll be here if we don't have customers because it's absolutely dead, and it is because, like us, we're both very niche.
But the trouble is you can't make people come shopping.
No.
We can't, we come down loads of like it. We can't keep on buying.
No, and the trouble is you're talking to the same people. It's like if I keep saying I need students back, they better turn up, or well, I'm talking to you. You're already here.
Yeah.
You know, I can't make you sit here for 7 hours a week. Oh, well, I could try, but I won't. It's the ones that I'm not able to get in touch with that I need to get in touch with. But how do you get in touch with them if they're not responding on social media and what have you?
That Orinoco's moving up to the old post office.
Well, you see, it's different because they're a charity.
Yeah.
And because they're a charity, they get all the breaks. And they'll get given cheap rental, no rates.
It's not fair.
Well, I know. When I saw they were moving, I had to have a severe talking to myself because I was a bit annoyed and I was a bit bitter.
Yeah.
But it doesn't help me be bitter. I mean,
That's a nice side that they're going to.
yeah. Well, to be honest, I'd have loved where they are now. I mean, that's twice the size of I've got. But I'm Payne's greying now, and I'm gonna do their faces, and then I'm gonna do the big
Payne's Grey.
yeah, because
I don't.
it's not on there. I know I've changed my mind because I don't think I can.
Grey is the neck and face.
It is.
Oh. Would you like bought my Payne's Grey?
They've got funny noses.
I'm a bit nervous about doing their faces because that's where it goes Disney-fied, isn't it? Has it gone Disney-fied? Yeah, mine will be like that in 2 seconds, Jeff. You wait. They'll look ridiculous. I look at the right brush.
It is scary. Are you done, Jeff?
Jeff's having up. Oh yeah, that's nice. That one we did before. Yeah, did you not finish that in class? Or
No, Jeff wasn't here.
Oh yeah, that's right. COVID. Did you have the COVID?
No, Jeff didn't have COVID. He was just poorly.
Right. Do you know anybody with it, Barry?
A few weeks ago, I knew about 6 people with it. I do know someone with it now.
But now, I mean, how is it? I haven't heard.
I don't know.
Don't know anybody with it at the moment.
I know one person that's just tested positive. They're not. They're based in Rugby. And they caught it at a thing on a train they were doing.
Have you heard, Chris?
Not many weeks ago, a week or two ago there were quite a few.
Yeah.
There seem to be less in this area this week.
Yeah.
It's still quite a lot though.
Yeah.
And they were just saying that in Britain it's very, very prevalent at the moment.
I went to my super spreader event last Saturday, and thankfully I'm alright.
We went to a school school play yesterday.
Oh, did
So
you?
that might well be a super spreader event.
What was that?
That was at Moral School, our granddaughter. She's just leaving that school to
You have change for 20, Barry.
I will have downstairs. Yeah, hang on. Let me stick a few.
she was playing one of the major parts in that.
Oh,
Did
lovely.
very well actually. She's great. She's amazing,
I love school.
amazing girl. She's fantastic. Great fun.
One of the things when you finish teaching that's really sad is that you don't get to go to schools to see kids performing
Yeah.
because I used to do all the plays, when I was teaching. I love it. I love seeing kids perform. It's so uplifting. Even if it's not
Everyone
100%,
was really enjoying it.
so uplifting. And I really miss that going to see. I go to see Odyssey around here quite a lot because they're very good. But just seeing kids doing
Yeah.
nice little ordinary school plays is something I really miss.
Yes. That was, I must say, I really enjoyed it. So, Edie, she's got a, she's got a little imp really, and eldest sister hadn't had her tickets, so she went, wanted her eldest sister to come, so she just just copied it.
Oh no.
Nobody noticed. It wasn't
Nobody
very-
cared,
Nobody
yeah.
noticed.
The more the merrier at
And
school.
and the other thing is, it was
Right.
Play
I'll get
about-
you changed, Jeff.
about the Second World War, and
That's really lovely.
she was
are Disney-fied.
Listening, Chris.
she was a school teacher,
I don't know.
who
I love you.
played a school teacher with evacuees,
All right.
and it turned out in the end that she was a German spy.
Oh yeah.
She against the wishes of the teachers,
Yeah.
she when she was uncovered, she started speaking with a German accent. And about 2 or 3 of the other girls in the sort of major roles started the corpse.
Oh no. No, that makes it funny though, doesn't it?
It was great, and the head teacher was very good. She was very sweet actually. And she said, "Well, we don't like to teach stereotypes, but that was unexpected."
Sometimes we have to.
She did. So, but she's an amazing girl. Both her she's a sister are in the English
Thank you very
vaulting
much.
squad.
Yeah.
They're going to the European Equine Games in a few weeks.
All right.
Um,
I always remember
they're
the.
Hungary. They're going to Hungary first, and then they're going into Germany.
Oh wow, fantastic.
But they've done quite a bit of it already, actually. So, this is going to be quite expensive. The whole squad is up. So they've got on Sunday they're doing a demonstration, I think a sort of afternoon with a barbecue and demonstrating there. When I say vaulting, you may not know what vaulting is, because I didn't until I did. And vaulting is basically gymnastics on horseback.
Oh yes, I know what the vault is.
Oh, you do?
Yes, I had to
Well,
jump
I
over
didn't
the
know.
vault in my
I
day.
know. A lot of people don't know. They think, oh, it's just gymnastics on a pole or something like that.
So if they have to do it twice, is it revolting?
Yeah, not quite. But anyway, yeah, they're yeah, they actually do it twice. Actually.
Well, I always remember when I first went into teaching, I had this very idealised view of what teaching was going to be like. I'm quite old-fashioned in my outlook, and I thought I used to love them misread books when I was young.
Right, yeah.
Where she taught in a village school, and they used to go on nature trails, and that's how I thought teaching was going to be. And my first job was at Neathrop, which is now Orchard Field School, so quite a tough area, but fantastic. Anyway, I did the school play, which was hard work because the kids, they were marvellous. They were such a laugh, but hard work. Anyway, and I'd have teachers say to me, "Oh, you can't have so and so today because he's in detention, and he's threatening the head teacher with a knife, so he's not coming anymore," and all this kind of thing. Anyway, on the opening night, I've still got my idealistic view, and I came into the hall with the kids, and there were parents and relatives of the children sitting on the windowsills. They got their cans of beer, they're sprawling on the floor. I can't believe it, but they absolutely loved it because nobody had ever done like a proper school play
Yeah,
with the kids. They absolutely loved it, but I was in shock. But I didn't say this in this read. Parents with cans of beer. Yeah.
Gosford Hill did it first, and they made a terrible job of it. So we got our kids to do it, and they were amazing.
So it's marvellous when they do a good production, isn't it?
Especially when it's a whole school effort and what have you. Everybody feels part of it.
Yeah. What used to irritate me was they would be dreadful, the kids, right the way up to it, including. Yeah. And then you think, where did that come from? They were dreadful this morning.
Adrenaline.
Love it, their performance comes in, isn't it? Right, wow, I think I'm done.
My daughter works at the Dragon School,
Oh yes.
and she said the sports day was amazing. They told the parents not to bring double-decker gazebos, and yet they did. And she said, you're supposed to turn up there at a certain time. We're there an hour before, setting upon the rules are broken. Oh, Boris Johnson's.
Yeah.
And so they come in, they set up what is it, thousands and thousands of pounds worth of stuff.
Oh.
She said it was just amazing.
Oh. Yeah, my experience was complete opposite to that because
Yes.
all the schools I've taught have been in the private
Yeah,
area.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Well, both they have their positives and negatives, don't they?
Yeah. They own her basically. She works from 7 o'clock through to 10 o'clock at night.
Ooh.
Sometimes it's 7 days a week.
Oh.
God. And then she gets this huge holiday.
It's very different in different schools though. I mean, I know I did art clubs in about 9 different schools. Some were really deprived inner city schools, which the kids were so appreciative of anything. And I remember doing one art club in a really posh village, and William, I'll never forget his name, he would click for my attention. Just William. And I'd say, do you think I'm a waiter, William? I don't think so. You do not click, you can put your hands up, but I will not come if you are clicking me. And I just think how different the attitude is on, yeah.
Came from an area in Nottingham that was really heavy West Indian. Smashing kids. But one child was white, but he used to suck his teeth. And I said, that's brilliant, that is. It's not like you're being rude, but you know, it's quite a
But you're irritating me.
Yes.
it's quite a statement.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Just stop irritating me. Oh, my kids were just. Oh, it was
So
hilarious.
not moral school, is it? It's Gordon's given school. Absolutely beautiful. And you know, they've only got about 16 in the class, and that's 2 years. You know, and most of them are pretty posh. It's around Warwickshire.
My last school, I taught at Fringford, my last one that I did when I finally thought I can't do this anymore. And the intake that year was 38, and it was mixed year 4, 5 and 6, which is really hard work. And I thought, oh, do you know what, I can't, just I threw the towel in, I can't do it anymore. So I gave up and I left I went in adult education for 4 or 5 years, then I went back into teaching and it was just as bad, I shouldn't have gone back into it. But the ideal is to have, you know, a small class where you can actually teach rather than crowd control.
Yeah.
And trying to trying to prepare for 3 age groups and all of the special needs and gifted and talented in each age group really got me down in that. I mean, it's a fabulous school, but it was really hard work.
The trouble is though,
Headmaster, was that right? You were headmaster, or was deputy in? Where was that?
Kidlington. There's a big pub called it used to be the Squire Bassett. I think it's the Gurkha Village now. And you go behind there, right back to the traffic lights. So it's nice.
I think the trouble is when you're differentiating in a lesson and you've got so many different kids, it's fine, but then they all made to sit the same test.
Yes.
So I mean, it's pointless, isn't it? Because it's not helping them, because then some will do better naturally because they're all geared to do the same test. So it's frustrating. It's not.
Kids are all finished and you're still differentiating the other two. They're plodding along. So you've got to.
It's hard work, and it's not fair on the kids a lot of the time.
I had 2 years pre-national curriculum when I started, and that was the best 2 years because I was able to do my own kind of differentiation without that worry of this is what you've got to teach.
You got more creativity as well, isn't it? Because you could I mean, I've only known teaching from the national curriculum, but as a student in the 1980s in primary school, I know that we'd read a book at story time, but that would actually also be the focus of our art lessons, our maths, our history, our geography. So your book would be your topic. I mean, the BFG is amazing because you could say the description of the BFG. What do you think it looks like? Draw a map of the island. You know, there's so many things that you could do, and it's instead of a maths lesson being a maths lesson and a numeracy lesson, the less academic kids have got no links, have they? And I mean, I wasn't academic in the sense I couldn't do maths, But I think if it was related to something I enjoyed, I would have preferred it much easier.
It's so boring, school, if it's not geared to what you are interested in.
And not
a lot of
everybody is a
children-
mathematician or a scientist.
Well, I wasn't a mathematician at school, and it took me 4 attempts to get my GCSE maths, my O-level maths,
Yeah.
and that was only because I wanted to be a teacher. So I had to go and keep
I
my position.
suppose over here we're still geared to that Victorian system of churning out, sit still for 8 hours, get you ready for factory work. But life isn't like that now, and the education hasn't caught up with the fact that you're going to have an entrepreneur in every class, and one's going to probably
That's
have their
not
own.
how boys learn.
No.
Boys do not learn by sit down, be quiet, let's write everything down
No.
today. I mean, girls are okay, we can get away with it ish, because we are a little bit more at that age, primary age, we're a little bit more focused. But boys are not, they need to be opening things up and mending things and fixing and exploring and running and that's a sweeping statement,
You're right, one thing I noticed last night was that the boys had very little, they didn't have much confidence.
No,
The girls
No.
had a lot of confidence.
yeah.
And I do worry because, there's been, I think boys have been a bit neglected.
They have, and also they're again sweeping generalisation. They're oppressed, a lot of boys, because being in an education environment does not suit them,
No.
and we need to accept that they're not suited to being sitting down, because every time they're being told off, stop that, be quiet, sit still, stop wriggling. It's oppressing them all the
Yeah,
time.
but what's interesting is those same boys will sit for 7 hours on a gaming thing because it interests them,
Yeah.
and they'll sit
Yeah.
still, and they'll focus, and they'll know everything about that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was one lad that I taught, Lee, and he was fascinated with guns, and he would know on the playground he'd shoot everybody, but he'd have different guns, and the way he held the gun and the sound of the gun was very different. So it was quite worrying from a 9-year-old's point of view. When you're walking past and you go at you, but I often wonder if he's
There he is now.
which prison he's in. But he couldn't sit still for the life, and and they're always fidgeting and hands in the pot because they need to be doing, and I think that's why the digital technology has come out, because it does appeal more to boys. But it's still, if you're still teaching it in the same way but just on a different surface, it's still not going to get through to them.
One thing that worries
It's
me in
difficult.
medicine is now that there's so very few boys going into medicine. Entrance to university is now 60-70% women,
Yeah.
and we do need more men.
But is that because a lot of it, and obviously, you've got to learn the facts and everything, but a lot of it is written exams. Because it's like nursing, isn't it? I mean, nursing has become an education, a university degree to be a nurse. So you don't have these youngsters who are just really good at caring or
Yeah, that
whatever.
was a big mistake.
Big mistake.
Huge mistake.
That was just when my husband was training. He just missed it. Luckily he was able to train. He got a degree anyway. But
Yeah.
the following year they started it. Yeah, big mistake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't think I can do anymore. I think the
It is.
dark leaves have framed that now.
Well, I do feel sorry for the boys. You're
I
right.
think whether it just become,
How many kids in your class at school when you were a child?
When I was a child, I think there would have been about 20, 22.
45.
Well, I was 30 something.
But my primary school was quite big. It was a 2 to 3 year
They didn't
set.
differentiate in those days. They
But
didn't.
We didn't, and also in the 80s, we weren't taught nouns or verbs. We weren't taught times tables. Basically, the most English I was taught at primary level was we used a colouring pencil for capital letters and full stops, and that was it. I mean, none of this fronted adverbial rubbish or anything like that.
I mean, they've renamed everything, so
Yeah.
to protect the
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't think if I went back into a classroom today, I couldn't teach English or maths
If you weren't very good at
to
it,
6-year-olds.
you sat in the corner. There wasn't any.
I don't think I could. Linda, I hope you've done well today. I'm not going to be able to do any more to this because this is it for me. It is a bit more yellow in my picture than on the screen, but not as yellow as it is in the photograph. But I think they must have ramped the contrast up in that photo. I do. So I'll post this in the group so you can see what it looks like. Don't look too closely. And I hope you've had a good weekend. So stay safe, stay out of the sun and stay hydrated. And we'll see you next week. What's next week's lesson? Oh, it's a Labrador and a kitten. This is quite a cute one in a way, but a really good lesson next week. So this is next week's. That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, that's a nice one. Yeah? I don't know what date it is next week. It could be... Oh, well, the week after we're doing a bottle of wine. Oyster Bay this is. Let me see. So that the cat and the dog are next week, and then that's the week after. And it's really interesting to do the white glass. So yeah, lots of exciting things. So thank you very much. Take care. Thank you, Linda. See you soon. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye.